What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today I was gonna do a video based on a pretty big thing that happened in prison. But it was just too close to stuff that I don't like to talk about. Stuff that I'm not comfortable talking about, right? And so I'm gonna freestyle on something that kind of goes with it, right? And that is the loyalty that we show, that we are willing to give up our lives or our freedom for something outside of ourselves and outside of our family. Think about that. As I've been saying, there are barrios that are over 100 years old. The same crimes, the same pain is being created for over 100 years. And there has never, ever been a success story as far as somebody who's stuck to being a gangster. There's never been a success story. Every story ended in failure. And yet, to this day, we still have kids who make a decision at a very young age that they don't matter, their family doesn't matter, the barrio matters, their homeboys matter. I've said it a bunch of times, man. I've been around some real heavy dudes behind the walls and in the streets. None of them, that I ever recall, none of them wanted their sons to follow in their footsteps. None of them ever wanted their daughters to marry somebody like them. As bad as these dudes may have been, as violent as these men might have been, they still wanted better for their children. And they still looked out for their families from in prison. I don't know. I can speak from experience. And I feel like everyone who joins a barrio, a hood, whatever, something happened at a very young age that made them look outside of themselves and their family for support, for strength. And every time someone does that and they break a law, nobody goes with them. They go and they do that time. You know, back in the days, we had out here in California, we had the California Youth Authority, which was prison for kids up to the age of 25. It was the worst experiment ever. It created monsters. I've done videos on it. You hit YA, you survive YA, you paroled with a chip on your shoulder that you dared anybody to touch. And usually within 6 months, the majority of those guys were either dead or fighting a murder case. The majority of them, that was the two outcomes. Because surviving YA, everyone that survived it, they believed when they hit the streets, there was nobody as bad as them. The California Youth Authority wasn't a place where you learned a lesson, at least not a positive one. It was a place where you were tested mentally and physically. And you came back out in the community and you hurt people. But in the process, there were those youngsters that were looking for meaning, looking for a hero. Man, forget about Superman and Spider-Man. They're on the movie screen. I got this dude that just got out of YA. Look at the way everybody respects him. Guess where that kid's going to go? California Youth Authority. And then once he's there, he's going to prove he's better than his older homeboy. Downer than him. He's going to do more. And that cycle went on for decade after decade. What did the state do? They shut down the California Youth Authority. I didn't agree with it. And I'm going to tell you why. I felt like it should have been overhauled. Completely overhauled. Get rid of everybody. And put in place people who had righteous, clinical backgrounds. As far as being, like we had counselors, and then there was the YCs were the youth counselors, and the GS is the guys that were dressed, or the guys the men and women that were dressed like the CDC cops. The only difference was one wore personal clothing, the other one wore a uniform. Neither one of them gave a damn about you. They were there collecting their money. It should have been overhauled. There should have been more of a focus on education and programming. At least try to do that. Instead, what are they doing now? Putting you in juvenile hall, a place that is not built to house anybody long term. And you have kids taking kids' lives. And they go sit in juvenile hall for a year. Then they get out. And they're carrying the biggest stripe possible in the neighborhood. Convicted killer. They sat in juvenile hall for a year, whatever it may be, 18 months, whatever it is for them now. And they get out. How big you think that chip is on their shoulder? How do you think they're greeted in their barrio when they get out? I don't know. This video is going to get to who it needs to get to. I just wish we can get to a place where instead of our children, our youth, being willing to kill or die over something that isn't theirs, how about they be willing to study, to learn, to get ahead? That's so much more impressive. You know, I remember when I used to work with the youth, I would try to put it in their heads. When you're in school and you're chilling with your homeboys, right? And you're in class and you're fucking up in class, it's because you think you're the cool kids, right? Guess what prison's full of? All the cool kids. And if you're lucky enough to get out of prison, guess who you go and ask to hire you? The guy you thought was a nerd in class. While you were in prison, around a bunch of angry men, that guy you thought was a nerd, he stayed on the streets, got him a beautiful woman, built a career, bought a home, made babies. Who's the real cool one? Something to think about. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.